All right, we're live. Here we go. As always, we'll just give it a few seconds, a few minutes for everyone to join in. That's planning on joining in. I think people in England are just recovering from the boring 1-1 draw with Denmark. It's absolutely dreadful. I'd love to watch paint dry.
As not a soccer fan, sorry, a football fan, if all the matches could be like the World Cup was last year, or was it 2 years ago, that the finale?
Yeah.
If they could all be like that, I'd watch every single game. But then sometimes you get that stuff and you're just like, oh, God.
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Do not recommend watching England anytime soon. But we didn't lose, so there's one positive that I'll take away. It's like most things, I like to try and keep positive.
Yeah.
And what we're watching as well. We've got anyone joining in yet, Jimmy? Have we?
Got a couple people on Instagram, and we got a couple people on live. So I guess we could probably chat about what we're going to chat about today.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, take it away, buddy.
Well, we've got, of course, we're going to try to get your take on episode 4, because I've got to talk about it multiple times. I talked about it on our After Hours show, Acolyte After Hours. Brilliant. And I was joined by Alina at Phantom Memes and Jedi Lex, and that was a good conversation. And then the next day, I'm a very lucky man, I got to go on Clan Brandalorian's show with Jedi Lex again, and we broke down some stuff. I feel like we didn't really talk about the episode very much. We talked about all the controversy surrounding it and what's not that it's wrong to dislike it, but how people were disliking it. I feel like that took up, I think we talked for almost an hour, and that probably took up 30 minutes of just talking about kind of the hate. Darren says hello.
Yeah. Hello, Darren.
So, but, and then we have some information from one of the writers from this last episode. So I've got that ready to go. People have been talking about a little bit. I think it's kind of exciting. And then I have a photo I want to show of Darth Zipperfaces or Smilo Ren or however you want to call it, whoever you want to call them. Or I still think it's an Emphas Nest situation going on here. Yeah, so we're going to kind of dive into that. The vocal hate is kind of killing Star Wars for me. Yes, Star Wars Collector. I've said this after the premiere, and I think it was Tuesday or Thursday. It was before we did our live stream, Jack and I. I'm sitting there, and my wife looks at me. She's like, "What's wrong with you? You were in such a good mood." And I was like, "Well, I've just been reading all the negativity, and it's not that people don't like it. It's that people are being awful about not liking it and just can't wrap their head around the fact that what they think is their opinion, not ours. And if you don't agree with me, you're a whatever." And then, of course, it stems from like, well, if you're gay, you can't write Star Wars, or, and it's just these little things like this. Like, it just wore me out. So I get it, Star Wars book collector. I get it. I felt the same way. I was actually watching a guy who loves Star Wars before we came on, and he was talking about going through the same stuff, like not wanting to read any of his things, not wanting to go into comment sections because he just has no problem with people not liking it. His problem is with people, how they're expressing themselves. And I think that's the big issue, because I don't feel like everyone has to like everything.
No.
There's RFBs joining us. Pennsylvania, home state. Got Ed Friday. Howdy, Ed.
Evening.
And we got 1/4 portion. We got the King of Wales himself.
Evening, Luke.
Instagram. So that's awesome. Thanks for joining us, Luke. But yeah, so kind of get into it. So Jack, just kind of, I don't know, give me because we really haven't talked about.
We haven't actually, have we? About this,
no, you've been all laced up on painkillers for your knee. So if he starts calling Alec McGinnis again, we'll just go ahead and cancel the show. But
yeah, no. Well, yeah. First of all, what we've got to remember as well with these people that they're voicing their opinions, there's ways and means of doing it, and the group this week, I don't know if anyone's been seeing it, but the group on Facebook, it is taken off. I think we've got at least 35 to 40 new members just joining because we've made, and this is not we as in me and Jimmy, everyone that listens and supports us, we've made a community now that people feel safe and people can enjoy and also put their own thoughts and opinions and not get criticised, whether that's a positive opinion or a negative opinion. You know, there is people in our group that have these opinions they don't like the Acolyte, and that's perfectly fine. You know, people are backing up to the reasons why. Ed Friday, Ed was one of the guys that didn't like episode 4. He mentioned why. Trying to think of who was on there. Not Wayne's. Mark Ward was another one. Chris Cobus is another one. You know, we've got people in our group that do like it and don't like it, but there's no malicious, there's no nastiness, and people are enjoying the debate, and that's what I love about Star Wars is talking, you know, different things, different views. You can talk for hours about Star Wars, but yeah, that's where I'm standing at the minute with all the different types of the criticism that it's getting. In terms of episode, I loved it again. I've loved this show since it's taken off, but I've had so much hype for this, as everyone knows, since Celebration. Yeah, and you know that finally that scene where they're all lighting up the lightsabers on that planet. You know, that was in this episode, so straight away I'm getting flashbacks. There's a lot of things I really liked about this episode. I'd love seeing all the old characters like Kai Mundi, Plo Koon as well, but it turns out that isn't Plo Koon at all.
Nope.
Getting to see a bit more about the Jedi Temple, seeing them training, different Jedi. You know, we're seeing a different side of Vern Rowe, which she seems not quite straight and narrow as a Jedi should be, if that makes sense. Something's off with her.
She doesn't remind me of, and I said this in both the times I've talked about it, that is not the same character that's in the books right now. And I'm concerned for her as I'm crushing through Temptation of the Force, which is phenomenal, by the way. I'm concerned for Vernestra. It's like, what's going to happen and I hope it happens in the book, so it's not just this big leap or there's not just this like empty space. But yeah, I felt the same way about Vernestra.
Yeah, so that was interesting to see. But I like seeing all the different parts of the Jedi Temple, and like the control room, everyone's different robes, stuff like that. And then yeah, I love the planet. I love the location it was set on, the backdrop, the tracker Baz. I thought it was absolutely quality. He stole the episode for me. Yeah, I'd love to have a little Baz. The flying, now the beetle thing that was on the tree, that reminded me, and we have them in England, called woodlice. I don't know if you have them in America. I think you call them termites though.
Oh yeah.
That's what that reminded me of. Jackie again, outstanding. Yord again, outstanding. Yord reminds me more of a bit of a Mace Windu or a younger version of. I love the suspense at the end. You know, you see the Sith like floating in from the backdrop, quietly, you know, coming in. The only thing that I didn't like, and I hope we see it in a flash, but I don't think we will, is we missed Cal Nacker in action. I know we're going to get it.
We're getting that in a flashback.
I know we're going to get it against Torben, but I'd like to have seen him against a Sith.
Well, it looks like
presumed Sith.
Yeah. But we got a bunch of comments here. Hang on a second. So we got RFB says it's the fandom menace fellas. That's who's stirring up all the muck. They've been ready for this the whole. Yeah, you're not wrong. They hated it before it even came out. I secretly think that they're in little hiding bunkers, enjoying it, and then come out of it, and you know they want to spread their hate and make their money off of it. So we've got Anthony. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, Anthony.
Much bigger than most folks think they are. Yeah. We got 1/4 portion here joined us. He says that we have weird, deep voices. Well, I always have a deep voice, Luke. Yeah, okay. We got. How's the knee, Jack? Have you been getting your sponge baths? Getting racy.
Yeah, I need a back to tank's what I need.
Hope for Christy's sake, it's not.
She might be watching actually upstairs.
There we go. What's we got here? Russia is very sus. Yeah, Luke, that is something I talked to Johnny O about. When I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if she ended up being the Acolyte? Like something just like snapped, and like something does go crazy in the High
books.
Republic. And Johnny O who was like, he's never been like rude to me. He's like, no. That was all he responded. So, but I thought it was pretty funny. Well, we got Luke 1/4 portion says, I wonder if Kanaka committed seppuku suicide. Oh,
No, because he didn't. Because he had that massive wound across his chest, didn't he? Lightsaber mark.
that's what I think it's what he's talking about. Because that part is where you stick the knife in you and you cut it across. Now the part that's missing is the head being chopped off. But so you're thinking that maybe he took his own life because he knew everyone was coming and didn't want to deal with it?
Nah.
We've seen one Jedi commit suicide already.
Nah. Oh, I think he was killed, mate.
Possible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't roll it out. I mean, given the fact that we don't know what really happened yet.
Yeah, Darren, I agree with that as well. He's put. I think we may see the flying bugs again. I imagine they'll be attracted to the saber battle with Zipper Face. Yeah.
On Instagram, it says board game Cantina. Thanks for joining us. Said fully expecting a Kalneka Sith duel when we see how he died. So they think that board game Cantina, see it maybe in a flashback. We know we're getting a flashback with like Torben and Soul. People think, here's a good point. The writer for episode 3 or the director, that Koga Naga, is also the person for episode 7. Right. We know for the fact that the 2 writers for episodes 4 and 5 are the same 2, and it's actually one big episode. They split in half, which we'll get to a little bit later. Yeah. So you can say 5 is this way, 6 is something. We have a flashback in 7. We finale in 8, possibly. I'm not saying that's set in stone, but it seems like it might be setting up that way. Ed Friday says it was cool seeing new aliens. The helmet of the Sith was very different. Looked like a bike helmet as it got closer. Yeah,
I thought that as well. Yeah. Answer me.
Oh yeah, Anthony Goodman.
Yeah, I love that.
How do you feel about that, Jack? When you saw him come all,
I'm with
you weren't looking close.
You didn't see something moving. I seen it move and drop down. I thought no, and it literally ghosted in. And I was like, this is incredible. But what's really helped me as well with the Acolyte is I've been reading or listening to Darth Plagueis, and I'm at the point, and I've got about 3 hours left on it because obviously I've not moved anywhere. And he's been talking about how Sith found out basically how to teleport through the Force, how to fly, how to live forever, how to like manipulate things and stuff like that. And then seeing that, literally, I was like, this just makes sense to me. Makes so much sense to me.
Hey, over on Instagram, the Dad Vader wants to know. He says, "Is it a Sith? We assume Sith." I might be with you, Dad Vader. I think this is a way that they don't ruin canon. You know, that possibly like, you know, like people were screaming that Leslie Headland doesn't know her stuff, but every interview she's pulled from all these different things. She's made references to things that I had to look up because I didn't know what some of it meant.
Listen, and Dave Filoni's been helping her out as well.
That's another thing too. And the story groups there, they're not going to let stuff slide through the cracks. But
I'm with Dad Vader on that as well. I don't think, and again, we're going to it later. I don't think this is a Sith.
Well, why? Yeah, because like the thread, right? That version of the Force, which people are like, use the thread, Luke. Like that doesn't make any sense because he's going to be a Jedi. He's not going to be in this witch coven. Okay, first of all. But second of all, why not, if we can do that with the light side of the Force, or maybe not even the light side, just with the Force, we'll say, why not with, because they've even said a splinter cell. So yeah, I think that that's one way they avoid breaking that canon, especially when they brought Ki-Adi-Mundi into this and did have to, adjust some things. Well, technically he had never had a date of birth in canon, so I don't know.
And he wasn't there on the mission, and he doesn't know what's going on, because that's why Vern Rowe took Soul to one side.
Yeah. What we got here? Luke 1/4 portion says Osho will kill Soul with Force Choker and Lightning when he admits what happened. Uh-oh. I do think that she's going to be, because even the actress that plays Jecki has said that she kind of wants to be Soul, wants to be him, and then there's something that happens and shakes her to the core. So they're going to find out
Yeah, but I find it strange as well. Yeah. So both these comments, Luke and RFB have put up. Just whack that one up of Luke's, mate. So basically, Luke's just put yeah, Ren's lightsaber is red and they're not Sith, question mark. Now, we know you don't have to be a Sith or a Jedi to pick up a lightsaber. I'll go into that in a second. RFB's put, now I'm curious what Jack makes you think, Sith ain't involved. Now, obviously, we'll go to the High Republic books. You look at Martian Rowe. His lightsaber that he uses isn't his for a start. So anyone can pick up a lightsaber to a degree. And the reason I think it's not a Sith is sort of what Jimmy's saying as well with Leslie Headland, and sort of ties into the canon stuff. Trying to think of it from the Witch's Coven point of view. Now, if you're going up against the Jedi, so to speak, and in those times, the Jedi were the ultimate enemy or the ultimate power, so to speak, again, you need to think of something to fight that enemy with. So you've got to find out what they're scared of or what's effective against them. Now, if you're spreading the word about Sith, or again, what if this so-called Sith is an acolyte and the acolyte's got a master? I don't think it's a Sith per se. I think it could be someone just learning the dark arts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Over on Instagram, All Star Wars Fan says he wants to know our thoughts on the show so far. Would like to give a rating halfway through. So you've been a little bit higher on it than I have. So
I'm loving it.
Pips, what are you giving the first 4 episodes out of 10 pips?
Yeah, if I'm combining all the pips together, 8.5 easy.
8.5. Okay.
8.5.
I'm probably at a 7.5. I do think some criticisms of like the acting is a little bit wonky, maybe some of the dialogue, but I don't think it's enough to like pull me out of the show. But
I get that as well, but I also saw a comment today, and I can't remember who it was, but basically some things are better binged watched, like Book of Boba Fett, prime example. I loved it, thought it was a bit sketchy, but then I rewatch Star Wars all the time anyway, and I put that on and just rewatched the whole thing one after the other, like a whole big movie, and I thought to myself, that's better than watching it individual episodes. Like, if that makes sense.
We talked about this the other day where people, so a lot of people my age are hating on this show because it's not their Star Wars, but I think that binging has ruined people's patience for good storytelling.
Yeah.
But and I think I think you're right though. I had actually said that too. Like, I think Andor suffered from the fact that you'd get one episode and they're just in the prison doing nothing, but it's building. But if you drop like those 3 episodes in Arcana 5 all at once, the Eye of Aldani all at once, like done it like that. But people can just be patient, take it for what it is, let the story build, let it come to you.
Yeah, totally agree.
It gives us something to do every Thursday.
and you've got to think as well, this is no disrespect, is the people that were in Andor were well established actors. The people that we've got in the minute in the Acolyte, established actor wise, you've got JJ, which is he's basically just learned English for this as well, so he's already up against it to a degree. But his acting, I think, as Master Soul's phenomenal. Carrie-Anne Moss, but she's not in it enough to sort of carry the other actors to a degree. But the rest of the actors, really, in my own personal opinion, I don't think they've done as much as some of the other actors have in other Star Wars things that we've seen. Yes, they've been in big films or big series, but they haven't had a big part or haven't played a big part, if that makes sense. Now, this might be them as well, overacting because they're in Star Wars. I would not question their effort. And I think that might be what people are seeing as well, is they are trying too hard. I don't
know. Ed Friday says, what is the Sith and the dark side? We only know what we know from the films. Maybe it's one of the witches that didn't die, disfigured from the fire. And we also know that no one's been able to find Mother Coral's body yet in that pile. I do think there was like more than one group of bodies, but we'll find out. And again, like, this fun speculation. Yeah, and I think you're right though, Ed. Like, if they can they can dive into like other Force users. Why can't they do other dark side versions of it as well? Luke says, I do think there's a Sith manipulating these witches. I think this is the thread that gets us to Plagueis or Tenebris. Like, I think there's going to be a tie-in because I think the Acolyte is actually Zipperface or Smilo Ren or Smiley or whatever you want to call him. I think he's actually the Acolyte.
I think it's Tenebris. I do, because when I seen that, when he frees up in the hands, it's got Biff's hands, but it looks like a Biff's hands.
Well, I have a still for that we can talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then
Me.
it's prime candidate for binge watching. It could be, given that it's a murder mystery thing, maybe that would help it.
This next comment's an interesting one from Luke, where he says, my son, who's 12, for the first time ever asked me to rewatch an episode. It was this new episode. Interesting, I think, for a 12-year-old to ask to rewatch an episode of all of them being this one. What I'd be interested to know, Luke, as well, is what is your son? What's your son liking about this episode rather than the other ones?
Yeah, because I know for Luke, talking with him about Andor, he didn't enjoy it as much because it wasn't. This is a big family thing for him. Luke's a big family guy, and not his. I don't think his kids. If I tell this, but they didn't really enjoy because Andor wasn't for kids. Like my nephew, Hank the Tank, who's been on our show a couple times, he didn't really appreciate it because like it was a little not over. Well, I mean, Hank's young; he was like 6 or 7.
They said it would be for a mature age group, didn't they, as well?
Yeah. So, but Ed Fry says, they're going to show us what went down. Yeah, I think that's episode 7 because the same director. So maybe, but I mean, that's just speculation on some things I've seen and read. At this time in canon, Tenebris ain't identified as Bith, only by name.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is with the still, when I pause it, you can see his hand obviously when he's force throwing people, and it looks like a Biff's hand. And the reason I think it looks like a Biff's hand and how I know it looks like a Biff's hand is because if you look at A New Hope, where they're all playing in the cantina and that, you can pause it and it's like the hand is exactly the same as a Biff's. Does that make sense, Jimmy? What about there?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're seeing something I'm not. I was really focused on the saber, which I want to talk about later, but that just looks like a human hand to me.
So there's another one where it's more of a close-up where he's got not May, May in front of his grip, and it's a lot closer. But you can see how the fingertips, how human fingertips, like that sort of thing. But the Biff's ones are like circles rather than like a human's one. I'll have to try and get this still and put it up.
All right. Luke answered your question.
Okay, yeah, scene. Yeah, so he enjoyed the adventure, Kanaka, and the dark ending. Nice, because it's got to be all the Jedi as well that he's seen. No doubt, Luke. I'm actually really glad he's enjoying it as well. I'll be keen to what he thinks of the other episodes as well, Luke. Definitely for sure. What else we got on here as well? Luke says, "I'm trying to find my book that hinted that Tenebris Master was a Twi'lek." Yes, Osha. Thank you, Kurt. Yeah, not May. Osha. Twins. I'll always get them mixed up. Yeah. But maybe it would make sense if, it turns out the Jedi aren't the only ones after these twins for manipulating the midichlorians as well.
Yeah, I think that needs to be answered. I still think everyone's like, oh, it's ruining canon, ruin Anakin. I don't think we know enough to say that. And I've said this before in our show. If it does ruin canon, we'll be right beside you yelling and screaming. But I don't think that it does, in my opinion. Again, all this is our opinion as well. Take it for what you want. You can think we're fools or whatever, but yeah. So what we got here?
RFB, I think he's agreeing with you, Jimmy. He says it looks too very human hand to me.
I see it. I think I don't want it to because I feel like they're force feeding Chimera to us.
Yeah.
But again, it's hard to. I still don't think that this is the bad guy for the show. I think this is the bad guy for right now, and then we're going to see behind. There's going to be something else to it, personally. So, but we'll see. I went back and I scanned some stuff, looked through the episodes, and I couldn't find anyone with those bracelets on that, like not a pauldron, but like the
Yeah.
foreign protector stuff. Kurt W says you can see a twinkle in his eye through the helmet. It almost seems like he has red eyes. Ooh, all right.
That's a great shout. That's a good shout. I like that one.
Andor's fantastic. Obviously, it's pretty joyless. It really is.
Yeah.
Like just I mean, every episode is something like. Can you just imagine living that life? No wonder he's so angry and yells at. I've been in this fight since I've been 6 years old. Like, no, you can see where that anger is coming from.
But again, it's great writing by everybody that's involved as well, because it's showing the reign of the Empire ain't as joyful as they're making out. But Anthony's got a fantastic point there. Star Wars needs to be as fun as well. Ed Friday May snapped out of it and saw Sense pretty fast.
Yeah. I mentioned this on a recap Tuesday night that I was weird about the sisters, because if you take a look at those sisters, and I think it starts with episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like Madman or whatever, the guy that had the thing over his face, and Osha helps him. I mean, the first thing he says to Soul is, "I could sense the darkness in her," and he was talking about Osha. And then, of course, we flash forward to episode 3 with the flashbacks. Osha is like, she's kind of a little brat, I don't want this. I don't want to be a twin. I don't want to be a witch. I don't. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Well, I get it. She wants to live her own life, but I think there's some. And then, of course, you have May, who's like, "Oh, never mind. I'm on this mad killing spree," and
she's just enjoying herself.
Yeah. So I do agree, Ed. I thought she snapped out of that pretty quick, but then when she senses Smilo Ren, or whatever you want to call him, she kind of stays hidden, because she goes in there. It's a changeling. Who's a changeling? Tenebris?
Could be on about the Sith. What are you talking about there then, Luke? That's interesting. Do you think it's interesting as well how Sol also picked up on it, but none of the other Jedi noticed it either?
Thanks, RFB, for the terminology. Van braces are gauntlets. Yeah, see, that's what I went back and I scanned every part. Like, I mean, it's only 4 episodes, but I went through every scene he was in looking for like a hint of one of those gauntlets, and I couldn't find one. So I thought maybe. I went back and I looked at Mother Coral. She has her arms covered, so
it's a good shout. And this is what I love about the Star Wars fans like myself. We're our own worst enemies with our predictions and looking too far into things.
So,
yeah, RFB's even said, when you can, Kurt, give a quick rewatch of episode 4. When Khmer gets strung up by May, all he's got sleeves. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I want to know what's happened to Baz. Hopefully Baz is all right.
Oh, yeah. Some people are saying Baz is the Sith Lord, and he killed Kalnaka.
Turns out it's the Porgs.
Yes, the Porgs have attacked. They've unified. So, of course, we're still looking for the book. So, but
class. But don't you feel as well with the Jedi, when you're yelling for Thingy to come out for May to come out not May, Osha. I keep getting mixed up still. When Osha to come out, they sound to me like the Empire as well. Come out with your hands up and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's weird to me that every time they present themselves, it's always the Galactic Republic and the Jedi. It's never like they can't just do stuff for the Jedi. So
that's it. Yeah, that's it. They do go on Jedi missions, and they don't really work for the Republic either, do they, the Jedi? So.
But every time they try to apprehend May, they try to apprehend her twice. They say Galactic Republic and the Jedi. I think there's 2 or 3 times. Like Yord says it once. I think Jecki says it once. But I don't know. So it's a weird combination, and of course you have all the politics of trying to hide this whole thing so that she gets a small council together of just mid-level Jedi masters, I'm assuming, and trying to handle the situation because I don't want to have to report to the Senate. So that's interesting backstory, I think.
Yeah, big time. What's Kurt said there?
Oh, hang on 1 second.
He's put, what was that sound May heard before the master showed up? The caption called it rumbling. Yeah, so that's, again, it's a really interesting point. I think that's a key part in the episode as well. Loads of things are happening there. First things first, Saul has picked up on the presence of this person, this character. The character's floating, so it's obviously quite powerful in the Force, which is, again, confirmed when they throw about 7 of the Jedi away at once. And you've got to imagine this as well, that this Sith, they fancy their chances 1 against 7.
That's what I'm 8. Like, dang, like Sith don't care because he comes, whatever this thing is, it comes down and it not concerned about facing off on all these Jedi. Like, I mean, all right, you go, boy or girl, whoever.
Yeah. What else we got in this chat?
Got it Friday, whatever. Whoever the bad guy is, they're very strong in the Force.
Yeah, just confirm this. This is an interesting point that Darren's brought up, but as well, this makes sense with what happened in the previous episode where we think she missed on purpose. Don't you, Jimmy?
Well, he's talking about May, not Osha.
Yes, but this is the point where, not wanting to kill Kalnaka a little. Yeah, I don't think it's a little left. I think at this point she's realised.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I do think it was a quick turnaround, but I also think that if she's just driven for the fact that she thinks her sister's dead and it's the Jedi's fault,
that's what I mean. That's why it makes sense.
It could make sense. And that's where some of the writing for me, right? They could have done that a little more gradually, or they could have had more conversation. Like Chimera kind of snaps at her. And he's like, this doesn't change anything. And that kind of just, it changes everything. But there could have been a little bit more to it, I think. Luke is looking.
Found it.
So he'll give us some information here. Osha made a connection to the Force when she touched that Uber moth. She told Jackie as much. Yeah. And why is it all of a sudden coming back to her? She couldn't even force pull Pip to herself in episode 1, and now she's like connecting with creatures and she can feel them and stuff. So I thought that was, and I do think that she was disappointed whenever she said, am I like, when Soul finds her trying to sneak away, leave Coruscant, and he's like, I need your help, and she's like, to join the Jedi, and he's like, no, her face kind of falls.
Yes.
Kind of like disappointed that she's not going to join she's not actually joining the Jedi again. It's like she's like a kid trying to find a place to be, which kind of about.
No, I agree, mate. It's interesting though that she's picked up on the Force, because we sort of saw it with Finn in the prequels, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
This is a good one. I like this from Luke. Wait, is this Sith like Scream? There's more than one. Could you imagine that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could be like, was it Aftermath series? It had those acolytes. Yeah, it was Aftermath series. Have you got? I don't know if you guys have read those or not. And it's been a long time for me. I read them when I first came out, the Chuck Wendig stuff. And there was all these little like, this is where we got like Cobb Vanth and some different things like that. But there's a group of acolytes, like Dark Force worshippers on Coruscant, that were like collecting things and stuff like that. Yeah. Maybe, this cult could be, these things last a long time. They hide away and stuff like that. So
that's also a very good point.
I'd be afraid of facing a Wookiee armed. So
yeah,
because if you upset them, you will be unarmed. So we got Smiler looked like a slim build. Yeah, I thought that too, Wayne. One other thing I did too, I had a little bit of free time, obviously it's summer, and I went back and I tried to see like any time that Chimera was talking with May, if the height was the same, like if we were like looking down, but that arm coming out does seem kind of delicate, I guess. I don't want to be like negative, but the actor, was it Danny Jacinto? He's not a real like he's buff, but he's not real like thick. So I mean, it could be that, I don't know. So we'll go straight in the fight. Yeah, we'll talk about that, Ed. We got an article from StarWarsNews.net. Kurt's loving the series. That's great.
Good. Same, Kurt. Same.
Acolytes of the Beyond. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Thanks, Luke. Acolytes of the Beyond. So, I don't know, but I mean, guess that it's Vader fanboys. So, and RFP, yes, Acolytes of the Beyond.
Confirming it as well. Interesting. Maybe it is another cult then.
So, All Star fan says it just doesn't have that Star Wars feel to it. I've asked him why, but I think he may have left the chat. I know that people said that the live chat is doing something weird on Instagram, so I don't know. Maybe I need to work on my technology, but I'm gonna go ahead and share this. We're closing in on 40 minutes. We'll here. Presents maybe.
Cool. So while Jimmy's doing that, like I said, there's 8 Jedi against this 1 Sith, and obviously you've got May and Osha in the background, so potentially 10 against 1 if you like. Interesting to see where Khmer comes into. Oh, this is the article from earlier, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yes. I'm going to take this down real quick. I don't know how big this is for everybody, but let me read it. So, the Acolyte episode 4, this is StarWarsNews.net, so we're going to give them proper credit. They do a great job, folks. If you ever looking for stuff, we get a lot of our news from them. This is by Jay Goodall. Excuse me. The co-writer behind episode 4 of The Acolyte, Claire Keuchel, took to X, Twitter, I don't know if people still got to put Twitter in hyphens. Like, I think we all know it's X, but I get it, or Twitter still, to explain certain points of contention and questions from viewers of the show. In her response, Carol answered that the episodes were shorter than others and whether or not the appearance of dark side characters. Okay, so where are we? In my review, I'm going to read that. So here's some X or Twitter, just from, he do be having 45 pints in 2 hours, though. Okay. I hope I don't sound rude, but if I may ask, are they mandating y'all to keep the episode short? Wish they were longer like other streamers. And then CK, the writer, we wrote this one and next week's together, and they kind of had a total ballpark limit for both. For reasons, next week's had to be longer. Had to be the longer one, so this one had to be kept short. I think it's the shortest of the 8. Don't quote me, though. So she's saying that episode 4, is the shortest one possibly. She's also saying don't quote her because she probably doesn't know exactly. I liked the episode until the ending. Very unnatural cutoff point. And she says, the writer of this episode, I know it's a killer, but that was the most natural place to end. You'll see when next week's episode comes out. And that brings me to, there's more to this, but we'll talk about, but that brings me to the point where, like, folks, this is week to week storytelling. You have to let it develop. If you want to freak out after episode 8 because it did all these things, by all means have it. But what do you think of that, Jack? Both of these episodes is like one big episode, it looks like. So do you think we're getting like a 45-minute battle? Because one thing that Leslie Headland said is that one of her biggest things as a kid was the Geonosis battle with all the lightsabers, and she wanted to bring that into Star Wars again because we haven't really seen it.
No,
we've got, was it 8 versus 1, something like that? I mean, who knows what May and Osha are going to do?
Yeah, I think because of and this is literally, I'm thinking this now because of what's been said tonight. So this is why I love stuff like this. Luke's even mentioned like wait, there's more than one with his book. I think we are going to get more Sith coming out the woodwork. So I think this Sith now at the minute may or may not get cut down straight away. I think there will be a battle. I wouldn't be surprised if this one in particular got hit, and then suddenly they were like, "Oh crap, there's 6 more." That wouldn't surprise me one bit. I would love to see it how it is in the Old Republic, where it's loads of Jedi against Sith. That'd be absolutely brilliant. Principal Gaming has just come on and said, "Is it confirmed to be a Sith, or are they just calling it a Dark Force user?" Good question. I think at the minute they're just calling it. Master Soul did call him a Sith, didn't he? Him or her Sith.
I don't know if the word Sith has been used. To be
We'll have to check
honest,
that one.
yeah,
We'll check that one. That's a good point.
I guess I can go back and rewatch all 4 episodes just for you,
Yeah.
Principal Gaming. I'll rewatch all 4 episodes and listen for those keywords. I know that council never used that word.
No.
That's council.
But what's super interesting about this and the article that you brought up as well, mate, is do Disney know that she's replying to Twitter, to people on Twitter or X? Is she allowed? Got to be allowed, or is someone?
I think she's given any. Well, I mean, she's giving away the fact that
I think it's.
next week is.
Sorry, I think it's dead risky, Jimmy. Though as well, replying, I'd have just said nothing.
I can see your point, given the state of social media, but I feel like the only thing she gave away is the fact that we've all been concerned that like we all assume we're getting another flashback episode or flashbacks. Like this may not be it. This may be the continuation of that fight.
Yeah.
I kind of like the fact that she's told us. Like I think that okay, so people were upset about the cliffhanger. Like I remember you told me that somebody said who had seen all 4 episodes was like massive cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And you're going to be super upset. And I told the people that I was watching it, like, it's going to make you angry. And then when it clips, I'm like, what the hell? And I was like, but I'm like, that's good. I'll be back next week. So I think it's cool that she responded. I don't feel like she's giving anything away. I would be curious though, if like Disney's like, yo, no. Like no more of that. But I don't think she gave anything away other than, and then here we go. Let's dive into this one because this is what people were real upset about.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's see if I can bring it up here. Okay, so additionally, she addressed the appearance of Ki-Adi-Mundi in the episode alongside appearance of a dark side character. You wrote this episode? Well, then I have a question. Okay, why is Ki-Adi-Mundi in it? He wasn't even born yet. He's not supposed to know anything about the Sith. He doesn't know anything about the Sith. Why would he? And we offered the part to Yoda, but he wasn't tech available. So young Ki-Adi-Mundi stepped in for the part. All right, I like her humor, kind of throwing some shade back.
I've heard that somewhere before.
In episode 1, he said that the Sith had been extinct for 1,000 years. So either he was lying to episode 1 or else, oopsie, he forgot. Neither option is great. Not to worry. For me, in my head, I don't consider any of this actual Star Wars, but do feel bad for people who still do. Oh, okay. Good one, Ruth Day 99. Rue the Day 99, got it. And he has never known about any Sith during that time. She responds. So good for her. I think she did what she needed to do. I'm surprised, like you are, Jack, that she did it. If you want to read this article full, StarWarsNews.net, written by Jay Gooda, and this just came out today, right? Today's the 20th, isn't it?
Yeah.
So check that out if you want. If you want to read that art, I mean, I've read most of it to you, but if you want to see it for yourself, and we got a bunch of people saying things. Ed says so far the last 2 episodes are close to watching England play football.
They haven't been that good.
Up and down a bit of ooh and a bit of ugh. Okay. So no need, friend. Just no, Principal Game. I'm doing it for you. Plus, I plan on rewatching them anyways. I was just being snarky because the wife is gone for a couple days, so I get to watch whatever I want. Gotta watch some stuff. I want to finish like Game of what is it? Not
House of Dragons.
Yeah, man, I got to dive into that. I didn't realize that season 2 started already. Yeah. So no, they haven't said Sith. Well, Ed, now you ruined it for me. I'm going to double check you though, Ed. I'm going to go ahead and rewatch them all again anyways. But I appreciate that, Ed. You know who's unarmed Jedi are going to get cut down. Let's off. They all like Star Trek red shirts. Yeah, Darren, I've heard that the red shirts quite a bit. So
instead of red shirts, so it's going to be like orange sabers.
Yeah, orange sabers. Yeah. So the battle would have to be covered up, possibly the High Council, assuming it was May striking down Jedi.
I think this is a good point, and I think this is how it could also help with Ki-Adi-Mundi not knowing about the Sith. You imagine if Sol and the twins are the only ones that make it off that planet alive. I know it's not going to be the case, but if they did, what if Vern Rowe is the acolyte that people are saying, and she's the one that covers it all up because it's all part of the grand plan?
Oh my, that is a saucy take. Yowzes. Vernestra Rowe, the bad guy.
Yeah.
Man, that would make me sad on the inside if that happens.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, something has to happen. Now, again, if this is like we said, if this is like I kind of feel like the thread is, I feel like they used the dark side a little bit because of some hints from those episodes. But if this is like a subset or whatever they said in the episode, who knows? The Master's helmet is too heavily damaged. My take is he's been fighting other acolytes for his position. All right, I do like that. Kind of building off what Luke said about it being like Scream and it being multiple. It would make sense too, though. Think about like Acolyte, like the Acolytes of the Beyond and stuff like that. With I was angry. What came out of my mouth should never repeat it. Ed, save it for football. You're gonna need it from the sounds of things. I cannot wait for next week. Yes,
me neither. I think next week, Jimmy. I think next week we get the whip.
Yes, next week is the whip. And now also I'm going to bring up something else. So
Vernestra Rowe, who's got the whip?
Yeah, Vernestra Rowe has the whip. Okay, here we go. Let's see what Anthony Goodman says, and I'll jump into it. We still don't know how much Mundy knows, or we'll find out about the Sith, or even if it is a Sith yet. So this is one of the things people are getting bent out of shape about. Nothing least, not yet. Yeah, that's what we said, Anthony, too. Like, if it doesn't make sense at the end, then we'll say, hey, that's bad writing. And we will be like, that was dumb.
And that's what we said last Thursday, weren't it, about the episodes? People are saying it's all out of context, it's rushed. Finish the series first, then we'll talk about if it's out of context. Because
we have no idea what they're going to jam into these last 4 episodes. Like, this could be like nonstop, just storytelling. Who knows? But yeah, I think you're right, Anthony. Everyone just needs to take a deep breath. Everyone's been spoiled by binging. People don't like waiting. What does Yoda say about patience? So. Okay, so RFB's given the answer. But yeah, so here, let me see if I can bring this up. Does this look like 2 blades coming out of this thing? Like, I feel like there's one right here, and there's one right here. And Vernestra Rowe, oh, that's right. I mean, sometimes I'm getting old. I forget what the hell I'm talking about. In an interview with Perry Nemiroff from Collider, Amanda Stenberg, Leslie Headland, I think this is was it Charlie Barnett? It's one of the times he said about Anakin blowing up, and that's, I mean, we say things that are wrong all the time, like, and not on purpose, like he didn't do it on purpose either. But she said, well, wait till you see this lightsaber we have, and Perry Nemiroff's like, well, we've seen the lightsaber whip, and Leslie Headland says, no, there's another one coming, and it's real special. And she goes, when I told the special effects department, ILM, about it, they were like, ooh, I don't know if we can do that. Let's go for it. And if I can find that interview, I'll post that little chunk of it. But
yeah, I think you're onto something.
I was trying to yesterday, after I was talking with Brenda Lorien on his show, I wanted to see, like, because this does kind of, I don't know, that, and then I noticed the lightsabers here, and I think that this thing might be like a split saber. I don't know, because I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I'm looking for something that's not there. But I mean, I could be wrong too. It wouldn't be the first time. So
it looks like it from there. A bit of dark ray saber kind of.
Yeah.
I think it was Luke that actually told me to read Darth Plagueis as the book. I'm sure it was. He's just put there.
I'm currently reading this next.
Need to read what?
Lord of the Sith. It's Vader and Palpatine on the Ryloth.
Okay.
Those two get together in this one scene, and if I could see that live action, I could die a happy man. It's what you want to see those two doing. Like, it's everything you thought about these two super powered Sith Lords, and they're getting surrounded, and they just go nuts. So it is awesome to read. I can imagine what it looked like. So yeah, Dark Lords of the Sith or Lords of the Sith, one of the two. I'll find it and
I'll check it out.
I'm not going to send you that book.
I've got about 4 books to get through at the minute.
Kurt W. I wish the Jedi lightsabers were more fancy, like in the books and comics. Oh, you mean like the High Republic, where they're all kind of like jazzed up? See, this is where, like, and I'm not saying like, oh, I don't like these. If I had to build my own lightsaber, it would be more like Luke and Obi-Wan's and things like that. I think some of the ones in the High Republic are a little bit insane looking. Like, how is that like feasible? But
mine would be like Ty Yorick's.
So you would like that big like mace looking?
Yeah.
I just think does look. I don't know. I don't. It doesn't jive for me, but I get
I'm a
why
big
people
fan of
like
Ty
it,
Yorick.
especially if you're like a saber builder or something like that. Like that would be cosplaying would be phenomenal. I think you get one of Marie Bernadette's High Republic outfits, and you go and you build yourself a kick-ass saber. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, she's busy for a few months. I did inquire.
She said she's out like 8 months.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
RFB, Jimmy, ain't you Red Lords? Oh yeah,
I have read it. I'm telling Jack to read it.
Yeah,
that one. I think Matt Hudson is the one who suggested I read it, and I read it, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like, great book, and it kind of ties in with it because like Run Ryloff and Cham Syndulla and all that stuff's in there, and it's pretty cool because it's a lot of characters you've seen from the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
it's pretty fun.
Kurt's very similar to me, Star Wars. I feel now he's confirming it. Ty Yorick is one of the best.
Yeah, we talked with Kevin Scott, who he didn't write Ty, right? Well, no, he did because he introduces her. He introduces her, and he said he loves Ty and that whole story. So
yeah, he loved her.
Yeah, he was super passionate about the stuff he's doing.
And Ed, I like Cal Light's lightsaber mods.
Yeah, Cal Kestis.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the episode, I think that's pretty much everything. Is there anything else we want to cover, Jimmy?
No, I think we've covered it. Just some of the speculation. What do you think happens? Let's end on what do you think happens next week, everyone? Do you think that who's dying?
Predictions for next week.
Yeah, prediction. Are we going to find out who the Acolyte or who's in the helmet? We find out who's in the helmet, and does any of the main characters, Jecki, Yord, May, Osha, or Soul, because the rest of them, I would call like who was it? Said the red shirts. I can't remember who said
Darren.
that, but yeah, Darren. I think they're all going to die for sure.
Yeah,
you think any of the going down? Die? Let us know in the comment section who's dying. Who do you think? What's your prediction for who is under the smiley face helmet?
My predictions for next week: Orange Saber guys and girls, they're gonna die. Vanessa Rose turns up with a whip because I think there's going to be more than one after what Luke was been saying. I think there's going to be more than one Sith. I wouldn't be surprised. R2 obviously agrees with me. I wouldn't be surprised if Master Soul gets killed as well, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Jecki or Yord are going to die. Actually, yeah, Cal Naka's not going to be making an appearance.
Or Cal Naka.
Got to think as well. There's still 3 more episodes. Well, 4 more episodes. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, still 4 more episodes. There's still plenty of time for the Sith to be revealed. So I don't think that will come about. Kurt's got a really good point actually. Either Soul dies or Osha leaves with the Master. That's really good.
Well, there is a scene that we've seen in the trailer where Osha is like. It looks like it's Octo. It looks like it's that island that May shows up on in the first episode, but it looks like Osha's there and like all gray. So the Soul dies.
As well, it makes sense if she did and left one half of Pip behind as like a tracker.
Oh yeah, Pip for the win. Ed Friday says we won't find out who's in the mask. Definitely a big battle. Dead Jedi's 100%. Maybe one of the main characters. Which main character? Yord. Oh, someone
there's that trailer, isn't there, where Yord's on the floor.
Well, there's an episode where Yord has his lightsaber pointed down at somebody. I did want to say too. I thought this is one of the most quotable episodes so far with like Jedi knowledge, because like first off, I want to give a shout out to the Ginger Jedi, right?
Oh yeah.
Star Wars is being inclusive. Think about all those redheads out there that haven't felt a part of Star Wars. Now you got a kick butt saber instructor who I'm calling the Ginger Jedi, who my brand new nephew, who's probably going to be a ginger, now he has a role model. So look, Star Wars being inclusive. Isn't that great? But I thought there was a lot of good stuff, and Yord was one of them. I mean, he was still kind of a butthead, but he had some good lines, and then Jackie had some good lines. I was like, man, I can't really wait to watch this episode. And I keep getting distracted. I've tried to rewatch it twice now, and I haven't been able to sit down and focus on it yet. So I will.
Big fan of Jackie. Big fan of Jackie.
But let me see. Anybody else?
That's about it. Anything on Instagram?
No, I felt like something's going on with Instagram. It's lagging. A Ginger. Yeah, it is. Awesome. So, but I just thought that was crazy. It kind of stood out to me. Good scene too. I think it kind of people didn't realize, like, if you watch Jackie and you watch the rest of the Padawans, like, Jackie is better. And then we've seen her whipping around 2 green lightsabers in that one trailer, so that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's lots to look forward to.
Yeah. I get it. Some people are upset, they don't like it, but man, I don't get that aspect of it, I guess. But yeah, I'm pumped, man. I can't wait to watch episode 2. And remember, we'll have I know it's late for everybody over in the UK, which seems like it's most of the people in the chat right now. You dang Brits are getting ready to celebrate Treason Day here in a few weeks. I'll send you guys some cards. But we do have Acolyte After Hours, where we're bringing special guests every week and kind of get their take on things. And I have to double check who's coming in next week. But so.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's pretty much everything for this week, I think. Again, just a massive thank you, and I'll post it on the socials. Just a massive thank you to everyone that's helping us, supporting us, sharing the name. Like I mentioned earlier, the influx of new people that we've had this week alone, it's in the 30s to 40s. Please listen to next week's episode, because Jimmy this Sunday is going to be reading off about 50 different names. Cannot wait for that.
Names, you mean?
It's going to be absolutely brilliant. But yeah, thank you to everyone that's joining. It's still not too late to join in. Please let your friends, your family, your pets, anyone that you know that's Star Wars crazy or even isn't Star Wars crazy, explore the Force on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, YouTube. And remember, if you're joining the YouTube, please subscribe, because again, we need to get those numbers up. It's helping us out reach the 4 corners of the galaxy of Star Wars. Thank you so much to everybody that's joining us.
Here. All right. Well, everyone, thank you. And again, remember, you can like it, you can hate it, just how you present yourself. Please be civil, especially if you're going to be in our group. We obviously like it, but we also like to hear why people don't in a civilized manner. So have those discussions. We've been having some online, and like Jack said, our Facebook group is nice because, people like even Ed, who's been pretty high in the first 2 episodes, hasn't liked the last 2. But we've been having a civil discourse, like, I didn't like it for this reason, I didn't like it for that reason. Like, that's what I love about the Explore the Force, our group. So
and the last thing as well, guys and girls, make sure you check out the Facebook and Instagram posts that we've done. The Versus series is back. We've got Force Push and Force Pull and Y-Wing and TIE Bomber up at the minute. So comment there which one you prefer and why. I know we've had loads of comments already. So again, get your comments on there. We'll read them out this Sunday. Not a problem for next week's episode. There is more to come, so keep watching the socials, keep getting involved. For myself, love what you love, respect what you don't. This is the way.
And for all of us and everyone who's joined us, and everyone had great points, we have all spoken, and we appreciate you. Let me get to
Good night.